everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ully. If this is your first time, then welcome, and if it's not, then welcome back. So today is actually my 1 year vegan anniversary. And so to mark the occasion, I thought that I'm going to do a very quick video on 10 things that I wish that I had known before I had started plant-based diet a year ago. Point number one is just because it's vegan doesn't mean it's healthy. When I first started out, I thought that just because something had the vegan label, it was automatically better for you than non-vegan foods. This is not the case. You need to be especially careful with packaged foods. A lot of food companies have now jumped onto the vegan label, knowing that this is a way to market their products as more healthy, even though this isn't necessarily the case. When you're going vegan, just remember to stick to whole foods, plant-based, make as much food as you can from scratch. And when you're buying packaged stuff, just remember to check the ingredients and really make sure you understand what's in it. Point number two is the more colors on your plate, the better. And when I say colors, I obviously mean fresh fruits, fresh vegetables. The pigments in fresh fruits and vegetables is what makes them colorful. And it's these colors that are the antioxidants, and they all have different properties associated to them. So if you want to make your vegan meal as nutrient dense as possible, the more colors you have on your plate, the better. Number three is, yes, there is an adjustment period, especially if you're going from a standard either American or European diet like I was, which was very heavy in animal foods. You're going to be increasing the amount of fiber that you're eating significantly. This might mean an adjustment period for your digestive system while it kind of gets used to all the extra fiber. For me, it took about 3 weeks. It can take more, it can take less, but just stick with it and know that eventually things will sort of sort themselves out. Number four is that even now after the adjustment period, there are still some plant-based foods that don't work for my body. I had the impression for a while that because it was natural and because it was plant-based that my body should eventually tolerate it, and that wasn't the case. For example, my body doesn't really tolerate cooked grains together with cooked pulses particularly well, especially not in large quantities. I've been vegan now for a year and I can very safely say that it is just my digestion, it doesn't really work for me. It works for lots of other people, so this isn't to say this isn't going to work for you, but just again, you still need to listen to your body, and just because it's plant-based and natural doesn't mean it's necessarily going to work for absolutely everyone. Point number five is that it can be hard to feel satisfied off vegan foods. This is something that I know a lot of first-time plant-based vegan people complain about, especially because animal-based products are often very rich and they have that very strong satisfaction feeling that you don't really get from plant-based foods. Now, there's 3 main ways that you can combat this. Firstly, you can add some more healthy fats to your diet, so things like avocados, seeds, sprinkled nuts, these kind of things. The second thing you can do is up the protein. So I find, for example, chickpeas are very satisfying, lentils, add a bigger quantity of these if your stomach can tolerate it at the time. But number 3 is something a lot of people don't really talk about, is that vegan diets don't have as much umami in them. Umami is the 5th sense of taste after sweet, salty, sour, and bitter. And it is the taste that gives a lot of satisfaction, and it is very heavy in cheeses and meats and other very rich foods. Even though there are lots of animal products that have umami in them, but there are also lots of vegan sources of umami as well. For example, roasted seeds, roasted nuts, miso, soy sauce. Just do a little bit of research, see if there's any way that you can add in this umami taste to your meals, and hopefully you should get that satisfaction as you would with other non-vegan foods. So point number 6 is that I didn't have any cravings for animal-based products. I thought that I would. I had a diet that was predominantly based on animal products. I thought I would miss them terribly, but that wasn't the case at all. Obviously there's a little bit of tweaking and you have to do a little bit of experimenting and get a bit creative, but I found that I did not really miss them, especially after I managed to make my meals very satisfying, like I talked about just in the point before. I found that I have not missed animal products at all, with the exception of fish. So my next point is that yes, it is a little bit more expensive being a plant-based vegan. I have found anyway. It doesn't need to be. If you can base your meals predominantly around grains and cooked beans and pulses, then it can actually work out a lot cheaper. But like I said before, I can't eat loads and loads and loads of those, so I have to base my meals mostly around fresh fruits and fresh vegetables, and yes, that does make my shopping list a little bit pricier than what it was before. Having said this though, if you eat out a lot, then I actually find that it is cheaper eating out as a vegan than it is eating out as a non-vegan. Also, you can see it for the long-term cost-benefit analysis, and that you're potentially saving a lot of money on health complications that you may or may not encounter in the future. And especially if you're going plant-based for a particular health reason, I have found that I have saved a lot of money not buying a huge amount of creams and strange ointments. So I would say it's 100% worth it. So point number 8 is that there is a lot of BS out there, and you have to be very, very careful about who you listen to and whose advice you decide to follow. Especially now that social media and there's no restraint on misinformation being spread, you have to be very, very careful about who actually knows what they're talking about and who doesn't. There are a lot of people out there who do a lot of fear mongering as well with foods, which I think is totally wrong. I always think that it's the fear of the food itself is worse than actually eating the food, no matter what it is, unless it's like poisonous. You don't need to follow absolutely every single person's advice, and just remember to keep your head on you and do your research yourself before you decide to believe one thing or another. So point number 9 is that it will become so much bigger than just about you and your health. You will learn so much about the environment, sustainability, general ethics, and these are things that I think are really, really important, especially when we live in a very industrialized, modern society where it is very difficult to know exactly where the things that we consume have come from. So just having that knowledge is very powerful, and I feel very happy about the fact that I know that the way that I'm eating is sort of the least impactful, and I am just very careful about where my food comes from now. So finally, my last point, and point number 10, is that yes, it is life-changing. Not only just about, you know, the way that you cook and the way that you eat and all this kind of stuff, obviously that is going to be a major part of it, but you will feel amazing, you will sleep better. All these things that people talk about are genuinely true, and it is 100% worth it. Having gone plant-based has been probably one of the best things for me, definitely. If other people are interested in going plant-based, then I would always encourage it, and I would say that I think that that's great, and you will see benefits in areas of your life that you never even thought would be affected. So that was it, you guys. Those are my 10 points that I wish that I had known a year ago before I went plant-based, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys very soon again. Bye!